This complicated event, brutal event, gladiatorial event.
And it's brought tremendous dignity to these men.
It's nothing but exploitation of people who have no choice.
A life sentence should mean a life sentence. I think they should die at Angola.
I see the rodeo as an opportunity to get exposure.
Angola, Louisiana. More than 5,000 men, considered the most dangerous criminals in the state, are locked up in this penitentiary. Inside, the inmate population is 80% black and comes mostly from Louisiana's poorest neighborhoods. 9 inmates out of 10 are serving sentences so long that they're going to die in Angola.
No pagers, no beepers, no pocket knives, no cell phones, no electronics, no weapons.
5 times a year, 10,000 people gather at Angola to watch the prison rodeo. A rodeo for the prisoners inside the prison. It all started in 1965, and today it's the only rodeo allowed in a US prison. It's called the wildest show in the South, and it's always sold out. Where the pay for inmate labor is about 25 cents an hour, most inmates are more than willing to clash with the bulls for the biggest prize money. Some cowboys use their winnings to improve their life in prison. Some spend it on legal fees. Others send it to their families.
This is to dehumanize you. These stripes are to dehumanize you. Just make you look like, you know, you're not human. You're not part of society.
Jerry Brown's favorite event is the Guts and Glory. The inmates have 3 minutes to grab a chip off the horns of a 2,000-pound raging bull. The winner gets $300.
I'm a naturally peaceful person, but it's times where you have to get aggressive. You got to get violent. When I'm facing him, I look at him like the devil in a way. I'm just gonna tell you that now. I look at him like Diablo. God works through me and we defeat the devil.
That's a madman. That's a madman. So if you expect to win Guts and Glory, you got to beat Jerry Brown.
Jerry is 28. Locked up since 1995, he's serving a life sentence. Since he first entered the competition in 2000, Brown has become a celebrity.
What I have to offer society is very different.
Jerry Brown decided to get an education in prison. He reads books, writes poetry, and especially letters, which are the only way to avoid censorship at Angola.
A child whose parent is incarcerated has a 5-time greater chance of going to prison themselves. So we are creating generations of new and sometimes even worse criminals, and we're paying for it, and we're paying for it miserably.
This prison policy is costly. In 2005, Louisiana budgeted $600 million for its prisons, including around $100 million for Angola. In April 2005, New Orleans hosted an International Wardens Convention. For 3 days, wardens from across North America shared their experiences and talked business. It gave them the opportunity to shop around for the latest security systems for their prisons.
Angola is looking at a lethal, non-lethal fence. Fence that gives you a shock and then change to a lethal mode and then will kill you. Big business. Each tower costs $250,000 a year. You have 4 towers, it's $1 million a year just to maintain. You put a system like that, take the tower off. Correction is very big here.
We can afford to incarcerate our murderers, but there's a bigger cost if you don't. There's a cost to society in pain and suffering and misery. There's a cost in terror and fear. We don't want these people out. So if the prisons are overcrowded, then we should build bigger ones. If you've been to Angola, you know we've got a lot of room.
The prisons may be filling up, but the schools certainly are not. Louisiana has the worst high school dropout rate in the US and loses around 40 students every day, something the authorities have not been able to stop.
My greatest concern is what happens to the ones that are 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 years old that are in the pipeline on their way to Angola. And as you can see, in our system, we have a huge pipeline.
Terry Touchot was arrested for possession of marijuana, but charged with racketeering. Touchot couldn't afford a lawyer and was sentenced to 100 years in prison and a $1 million fine. He spent 18 months at Angola before winning his appeal, thanks to an outside benefactor.
It was a nightmare, what can I say? You know, I'm just not a drug lord. I'm just a hard-working person with no money. And if you don't have the money now, and you come from where I come from, in my parish, you don't stand a chance. You go, that's all there is to it. They just throw you away.
Once arrested, poor defendants like Terry face prosecutors with political ambitions and far greater resources than public defenders.
Net enough to build a chapel, and that's what we'll do. We need to build another chapel. We build churches with the profits from the rodeo, non-denominational churches.
And you can't miss them. Chapels built with rodeo money have sprouted all over Angola. Today, Angola is dominated by religion and the Bible College, the only college education available in the penitentiary. Inmates that do sign up for the 4-year course are set to become prison ministers.
And they started being moral people.
Praise God, praise God.
If we are to have a revival in America, I believe it will start in our prisons. Our guys are honestly not afraid to die for Christ. If that means be alone, they'll be alone. They're soldiers. Every one of those guys walked across the stage this morning. I promise you, they'll go anywhere, anytime.
Artificial intelligence
I hear you screaming, losing your kind. It's all real Armageddon, so simple and plain. Can find no peace, so the preacher releasing the flames. Hell's hot, they soldier shell shot, ducking the bombers, demons running out from the inside, busting their stomach. My prediction of benediction, 2020.
Jerry will probably never leave Angola, but he won't give up. The rodeo plays a central role in his rehabilitation.
Let's get away from this evil living. Zion train and the Father of our nation name restore us back to that from which we came.
I see the rodeo as an opportunity to get exposure, you know. And when we get exposure, then those, you know, who have hearts or whatsoever, they'll choose to want to look into why we're here, because they be like, man, he's doing something positive. He don't look like a bad guy to me.
Jerry has started to attract the interest of the American media. He believes that his fame will help him find a way out of Angola one day.
I said it's just happy to know somebody still loves you. Some people still have feelings for you.